Good evening. This is the November 30th, Wednesday, November 30th meeting of the Prince George's County Cable Television Commission. Welcome to all, and hope everyone had a delicious Thanksgiving. We are going to move right into the agenda. The first item being the approval of minutes from our October meeting.
I move that we accept them. Second them too.
It's been properly moved. Is there a second? Second, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda are action items.
There are no action items at this point.
Thank you. No items. And our monthly reports.
The monthly report for the month of October 2016. For Verizon, I have 32 open calls, and I have 31 closed calls. For Comcast, I have 9 open calls and 8 closed calls. However, there's one outstanding on Verizon and also one outstanding for Comcast. There are no suspended. For the outstanding calls for Comcast, that's for the Cinnamon Ridge condo.
Yes.
The wiring issue that Ms. Williams has been talking about for the past 2 months. Mm-hmm. The process, both Verizon and Comcast have started work on that. They have started work. I mean, the estimation, they estimated to start work in December.
Comcast.
Both Comcast and Verizon. We received an email
from
Verizon stating that work will start in December. And it will take approximately 6 to 8 weeks to complete that. So the cleanup process is going to start in December for both Comcast and Verizon. So according to both Comcast and Verizon, it's going to take approximately 12 weeks to address those concerns. Okay. So that's what I have so far for the outstanding.
And everything should be done at the end of that 12-week period?
That's the estimation they gave. So we're hoping that they will get that completed before the next inspection date, which is in March.
In May.
In May, okay, right. So that's what we have so far. There are no more reports so far. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from commission members? Hearing none, we'll next move into the Community Television of Prince George's County report.
The report was submitted and accepted.
Comments, questions? Hearing none, we are ready to move into the public comment portion of the agenda.
Yes, I have Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Right here.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay. My issue is with Comcast. I've been a resident of Clinton for about 2.5 years now. I ordered service with Comcast roughly 2 years ago. The first 3 months that I ordered service, no one came out to do any installs or bring the equipment. And then I got the bill being charged for the entire time. I finally disputed that and got them to clear it, but that was after they already sent it to collections. The last year and 7 months roughly, they've been putting in special tickets to come out to repair the broken line from the main street to my house, so I haven't received a signal at all. And I had the bundle package, but the automated payments were still coming out, so they've been receiving roughly $260 to $300 every single month for the past year and 7 months. It took me having to go and contacting the Attorney General, the FCC, and Better Business Bureau to finally get Executive Customer Relations to respond to me to help get some sort of resolution. September 1st was the first time someone contacted me, and in a nutshell, the gentleman there, his name is Tom, I can't remember his last name off the top of my head. He initially offered me 65% reimbursement for 6 months of the service and said they would get someone out to repair the line and get the services installed. When I didn't agree to that, he came back and offered 65% of 1 year, or I could pay the early termination fee. So that frustrated me. We agreed on the 65%. I just wanted to be done with it, and they said someone would come out and install the service. Waited, received a check. It was less my next upcoming bill. So, of course, I was frustrated. So when I replied back to him and said I received the check, but it wasn't the amount that we agreed upon, he started to explain about my bill. I said, well, that wasn't the agreement. You were reimbursing me for services that I've already paid for. He said he would have a stop payment put on the check, and they would reissue for the amount agreed on. I waited until the beginning of October and let him know somebody finally came out and repaired the line outside the house, but they still hadn't installed anything inside of my house. He explained that they wouldn't be issuing out another check and that I should just deposit the original check that they gave me. I let him know that I couldn't because he said he was putting a stop payment on it, so I voided the check. Ended up having to speak with 3 more representatives in the executive relations office before they finally reissued that check for the exact same amount, and then turned around and terminated my services and hit me with the early termination fee. I called and spoke with someone else. They finally waived that fee, and I just got that off of there. And then received a call from another woman there who apparently wasn't in the loop and kind of started going back over the entire situation again and asked me if I wanted to port my number over so that they could port it. I explained to her I forgot that I had a phone line because I've never used it and no one ever installed it. I don't even know the phone number. So after that, she said, well, it looks like they issued you out a check, and she closed it and then asked me to return the equipment. And here we are.
And you've not heard from them since?
No.
How long ago has it been since you had this conversation with her?
With her about 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks. And again, the first time hearing from them was September, but we're talking about multiple days off work, multiple phone calls, taking hours at a time, talking to technical support, talking to billing services, and then having people come out. I think the local Comcast representatives, the techs, can't find the area in Clinton and the courts. There's Birchview Street, there's Birchview Court. And I think they just get frustrated because the GPS may take them behind the house or to the wrong street, so they don't even attempt to find the house. They just close the ticket and then don't show up. So we're talking about days of them giving you 4 to 5 hour windows, and I work in the middle of DC. I have to take off work. There's no way I can make it and then run back home. So just multiple days, and they just never show up. And again, you know, the end of September, literally, I want to say September 30th or somewhere around there is when they finally came and repaired the line outside. But they still didn't check and do any of the tests inside the house.
Service.
For the most part, no. None of the basic channels worked. There are a couple of HD channels that you could catch, and if you ordered a movie for whatever reason, those come in perfectly if you pay for them. As far as the Wi-Fi broadband, the speed wasn't high enough for me to even log in my classes. And the modem had to be put in my back bedroom in order to get the weakest signal that we could get.
So you've shared all this information?
Right.
You have all this
Yeah,
information?
she submitted a claim, so
Okay.
we filed a complaint.
Okay.
Right.
So are you still out of money?
Well, at this point, they just sent the check, and I went on and accepted it. I just wanted it to be done as long as they went on
The
and
original amount or the 65%?
it was the 65%.
Okay.
And I just wanted to be done with the situation, but at the same time, I don't want them to be sort of let off the hook.
And what about the collections issue?
I finally fought that and was able to get that resolved, but that in itself took about 1.5 years.
They offered you 65% because they felt that you basically would receive 35% worth of services?
He determined that there was a certain amount of broadband that was being used from the
I'm just curious how they came up with that number.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Have you cashed the check?
I just did.
Okay. We appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and staff will be following up with you.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Comcast.
And Comcast is right behind you there?
Right?
Oh, hello, Comcast. Okay. So you may want to spend a few minutes after the meeting chatting with her as well. Thank you. Other public
The
comment?
next public person will be Mr.
Good
Williams.
afternoon.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm back. You all are not going to get rid of me until my problem has been resolved. But I didn't know anything, and that's basically why I wanted to come to see if you had talked to anyone. I've not talked to anyone since I was here last, And when I was here last, I had been told by Comcast then that it would start in December. I was told by William Crabtree that he would start working on it. He didn't say when, but he did ensure that it would be done by April, which the next inspection is in May. So,
He did say December, because we received an email,
okay,
right, stating that work will start first week in December.
okay,
Right.
that sounds good.
So sometime within the next couple of days, you should see something happen.
I'll be watching.
And you'll be back.
Great.
I'll be back.
And we'll be here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There are no more.
No more?
public-
Okay. Next item on the agenda, is the report from the Comcast representative.
I have no report.
No report this evening, okay, and I don't see the Verizon representative.
No,
so-
Verizon Karen called and said she's not gonna be
She
able to.
won't be able to make
She
it,
has a
okay.
conflict.
Okay,
However, she stated that she has a team that is gonna look into the high increase of Verizon complaints.
that we talked about.
Right,
last
that we
meeting,
talked
yes.
about last
Okay,
month, so.
great, thank you. The next item is comments from our commissioners. Any comments, questions? None? Hearing none. Then the next item is our next meeting is scheduled for December 28th. Usual time, 6 p.m. Is that gonna work for everybody? Hopefully it will. Okay. If there is no other business, hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.